Welcome back everyone, I'm Setharoth, and today we are finishing up the last of the Conjuration spells for the Arcanum spell mod. Just to clarify, these are the spells that you can get right out of the gate from the vendors at the College of Winterhold. I have not done the Arcanum quests yet because I want to turn those into more of a walkthrough, and then you can see the results or the rewards of those quests in more complete detail. So this is the stuff you can get right out the gate, even if you're installing Arcanum when you're already a master of Conjuration. And now we can get into the good stuff. We have gone through the Novice and Adept and Apprentice level spells, and now we really get to play. So the first of these spells is called Fires of Undeath. We're going to concentrate to unleash foul flames. Burning units hit for 20 fire damage per second for 8 seconds. Whenever a unit under the effect of Fires of Death dies, they are reanimated under your control for 2 minutes. This is a beautiful one. This is... you are able now to do direct damage with your Conjuration spell, but not only does it do direct damage, but you actually animate the living that die under its effects. Oh no, I'm outnumbered. What do I do? That's fun. This, when you spawn them in, you get a random assortment. But as you can see, they are dead, and then they're not so dead. Now, keep in mind, I currently don't have any perks on this guy to allow for multiple reanimated minions. So you could tell both of these tried to proc. They wore off as soon as the next one kicked in. So when you're running around with this spell as just your regular old Conjuration mage without like the Twin Souls perk or anything like that, you only be able to reanimate one target at a time. But I very much love the idea of being able to reanimate your victim and defeat them simultaneously. I think that's one of the cooler things about Arcanum. Arcanum really focuses on making a one spell do at least 2 things, which I particularly like because I prefer to play with the console, so I usually only have the 2 hands for spellcasting, right? It's a little harder for me to switch to different favorites because I'm not using a keyboard, and it's very nice for Arcanum because one spell does multiple things, so you can both do damage and reanimate your victim all at the same time. Next we have Kynreeve Swordstorm. Concentrate to summon a bound swords that deal 6 physical damage per second and apply bound weapon perks in a 20-foot area around you. You gain another sword every 2 seconds, up to 6. At max stacks, the blades will persist for 60 seconds. This one is just beautiful. You'll see. Oh no, I'm under attack. Whatever shall I do? 1 sword, 2 sword, 3 sword, 4, 5, 6, and it lasts for 60 freaking seconds. So obviously as a mage, if you're doing light armor and not the kind that goes into melee combat, this isn't exactly the ideal spell. But if you're doing a battle mage build, for example, where you have armor and magic, this is just beautiful. I love it. It's like on D&D when you use the animate object spell and you just grab a half a dozen daggers and send them all flying at your opponents. But in this case, it's just a swirling circle of death. It's beautiful. The only thing I wish it added, well, I mean, it would be kind of a drain on the system if the blade actually made a sound of impact every time it hit a target, particularly when you have this many blades spinning, so I can see why they didn't put that in. But it is a little annoying when I go past bad guys and I don't hear like thunk 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 thunk, right? I keep thinking I'm missing, but I have to watch their health and like, oh no, they're dying. They're dying. It's okay. It's okay. They're dying. Alright, the next spell I want to show you guys is called Song of the Damned. For 2 minutes, whenever you cast a spell, you lose 10% of your current magicka, and you summon a skeletal warrior or archer at a random location for 30 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and pop that Song of the Damned. Just to keep things simple, we're going to use a healing spell to proc it. Interesting point, this doesn't have to be a conjuration spell. See? Bloop. And since I don't have any of the perks for multiple summons, every time I cast, I get a new undead. And there we go. Unfortunately for this one, I still have spinning blades. But as you can see, this gives you a endless supply of skellies to back you up in a combat. Keep in mind that while this is working, I am in God mode right now, and this does add a 10% magicka cost to all of your spells. So I will go out of God mode to show you what that's like. Alright, so a healing spell should not... This is the novice healing spell, and it shouldn't cost that much magicka. But it does because it's automatically adding in a conjuration every time. This is an interesting cost because you'll note in the description it's 10% of your current magicka is your extra cost, right? So no amount of magicka regen or enchanting your conjuration to the point of 0 magicka cost is going to help you, because this has the 10% of your current magicka cost locked in. Although it is based on your current magicka, which means it's more expensive when you're at full magicka than it is when you're almost out, because it's going to add the cost, the regular cost of the healing spell, on top of 10% of whatever amount of magicka remains. So that's kind of an interesting element to that buff. But with the right perks, particularly perks that allow for multiple animations, multiple summons, being able to crank out undead like this quickly, especially when you can combine this with another spell, right? So if you can throw in a disease spell or a poison spell that these skellies are immune to, and you are doing it under the effect of this buff, Song of the Damned, you're not only doing damage, but you're also summoning these things. One word of caution, this is what I wanted to point out. If you do it, if you try to use a damage spell at the same time, you will actually summon an undead in the path of your attack spell. So it doesn't. This particular buff doesn't go too well with destruction spells, because obviously you summoned the skelly, well, in the path of your spells. So that's not ideal. If you're trying to, it's not meant for that. It's meant to back up like any conjuration spells or defensive spells or ward spells, so that you can still create allies while you're doing other things. Alright, next we have Aberrent Opus. Absorb the power of a corpse, disintegrating it to ash and granting yourself dark favor, increasing your magicka regen by 25% for 60 seconds. If you have 4 stacks of Death's Favor, casting Aberrant Opus on a corpse will consume all your stacks and reanimate it for 60 seconds, and permanently grant the corpse 200 bonus health, stamina, and magicka, as well as 50% bonus damage, up to 1,000 and 400% respectively. This reanimated corpse does not disintegrate into ash. So what does this mean? This is the ultimate corpse harvesting spell. The trick is, I think you have to be a first person for this. There we go. Yeah. So first person makes it a lot easier to aim. Your first corpse that you absorb gives you Death's Favor, which increases your magicka regen. Right? That's success body number 3, and that puts our magicka regen up to 75%. So it's stacking, right? It starts at 25, then 50, 75. Then we have victim number 4. There we go. We are fully charged with necrotic energy. So that increases your magicka regeneration by 100%. However, we are also ready to summon our Opus. Now when you do that, it's going to expend this extra magicka regen that we currently have. However, I think I need to be in first person again. The targeting on this was a little off. There we go. So that expended all of my dark favor, so I don't have that insane magicka regen anymore. However, I now have this bad boy, which has hundreds more health than previous iterations, and it does a lot more damage, and it doesn't disintegrate into ash, and as you can see by all the necrotic energy coming off of it, it is an unholy creation. So I do, it's 2 different modes, right? If you just harvest 4 corpses, you can double your magicka regen, or you can use this on 5th corpse and have a tanked out thing. I don't know if that is a That face looks really weird. I don't know if that's some kind of a glitch with the animation. This is just a basic bandit texture, so I don't think there's anything on my end modding-wise that would be messing with that.
Release me.
Oh, gotta love a good zombie. Alright, so next we have Army of Darkness. Reanimate all dead bodies up to level 50 within 100 feet to fight for you for 2 minutes. Allied undead units within 100 feet summon a skeletal warrior or archer under their control for 60 seconds. So the nice thing about this is not only can we raise all of these corpses, but our little friendly corpse here is going to get a conjuration of her own when we pop this spell. I really do like that your Master Conjuration spell gives you an AoE animation, whereas in vanilla Skyrim you'd have to grab the Ritual Stone and it could only use that once a day, but it makes so much sense to me that a Master of Conjuration would be able to do this at will. Isn't that beautiful? The nice thing is if I was to do this with my Undeath mage that has 6 skeletons with him right now, he would then conjure 6 more skeletons on top of raising all the corpses. Like, it gives a whole new Skyrim feeling to the term Lich King when you can just raise everything and go to war. I love it. That's awesome. Straightforward, and it's what you would expect from a Master of Conjuration. Alright, next I want to show you guys Bound Demonblade. Since we already have an army to back us up, we might as well see them in action. Bon appetit, senors! Alright, so the downside with this Bound Demonblade is it does damage to you every few seconds, but you have to kill it, or kill with it I should say. I have to kill someone with this blade. You see, notice his body is in magical flames right now. You have to kill someone with this blade before you sheath it, or it will do an insane amount of damage to you and possibly kill you. You have been warned. So this is the be-all end-all of Bound Blades. Look how much damage I'm doing. I have like 20 one-handed skill. And yeah, just tearing right through with it. I don't think it gives you any extra buffs. We're going to check. I was wrong. Ooh, when you kill with the Bound Demonblade, it heals you for 50 points per second for 100 seconds. Oh, okay. So when you first cast Bound Demonblade, there's a chance that it will do damage to you every second. However, if you cast it and then kill something, now you're gaining health every second for 10 seconds. And you can safely sheath the Demonblade. If you try to sheath this thing before you kill with it, you either take in a massive amount of damage or you die. I tried before and I died, but I am a squishy mage without a whole lot of health, so I don't know. The blade get hungers? What? Okay, we're gonna have to... Alright, we're gonna investigate that, because we killed with it, and it shouldn't kill me. Okay, so we're going to do a little quick save just in case. Alright, I've disabled God mode. Hopefully we can do enough damage. There, we can do enough damage. Alright, good. Okay, so he looks very dead to me. We've got the healing buff, so we should be okay. Blade is sated for now. Okay, so I think you have to be careful how this thing procs. So when I was single combat and killed this guy purely by my own hand, the blade was satisfied and I was able to sheath it without dying. When I was using it in conjunction with my army of the undead, it didn't proc and it wasn't satisfied. So keep that in mind if you're using this very destructive spell. Like, that bound sword does a lot of damage and you heal when you kill with it. So, I mean, win-win. It is a great weapon. You just have to be aware that you need to single combat, take down a target before you try to sheath that thing, or you will probably die. It does a lot of damage. Alright, next we have Conjure Oblivion Gate. You probably remember this from my showcase of the Arcanum spells, but it is such an awesome spell. It deserves an encore. Channel in place to summon the memory of a Shattered Oblivion Gate for 7 plus 1% of your max magicka per second. An endless number of Dremora pour out of the gate to your call, but ending the channel instantly banishes them back to Oblivion. Alright, we're going to go back into God mode to test this baby out. Just to make it a little easier so my concentration doesn't get interrupted and you guys can see what this thing can do after a good 20 seconds of casting. And given that we're near the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and bring in another small army, and we're going to see what happens. Oh no, I'm so outnumbered. Whatever will I do? I need allies, and I need them quick. Daedra number 1. Daedra number 2. Daedra number 3. Oh. Now, obviously, I got wailed on a bit while I was casting this. Assuming you have a follower who can tank worth anything, then you won't be interrupted during the initial casting of the spell, and you will be swarming the area with all of your Daedra. And I'm on Daedra number 6 right now, and as you can see, you can hold multiple simultaneous summons. I've got, what, 8 of them right now? But as soon as you stop concentrating, the spell wears off. So I'm going to do that one more time in out of God mode to show you guys, give you an idea of how long you can cast this on a sane person's Magicka pool. I don't have any conjuration cost reducing spells yet, so we're going to have a look at this with regular, let's see how much Magicka. I've got 260 Magicka on this character so far, and we're going to see how long it lasts. I already turned off God mode, right? So this will give you an idea of how long this thing lasts on a regular character when you can cast this spell without being attacked. And I'm already on number 3, and I'm at half Magicka? 4? Okay. So you can get a good 30, 45 seconds out of this spell before you run out of your Magicka, which is not bad. I like that. I like that it is, because it's concentration, it kind of limits it, because obviously these guys stick around, but only as long as you concentrate, which I think is a nice limitation, right? I mean, you want a master spell that is awesome and gives you the feeling of being a master of conjuration, but doesn't necessarily make the game no more fun, because you can just end everything with one spell. And I think that's a good balance, because it really does gobble up your Magicka, but it also summons so many Daedra. It's fantastic. Alright, next we're going into Unleash Archon. Meld 2 allied Atronachs of the same element, transforming them into either an incandescent Archon, a brumal Archon, or a tempestuous Archon for 2 minutes. You may only possess 1 Archon at a time. So, in order for this one to work, first we're going to need some thralls, and we're going to need God mode for that. Alrighty, thrall number 1. Should probably go ahead and favorite that. Alright, so that's one stored. And then let's go ahead and bring in thrall number 2. This guy doesn't have a lot of the conjuration perks, because I wanted to make sure I was showing you guys what you could get just from the spells alone, and then you guys know which perk trees you guys are using, so you would know better than me what other adjustments you will get when you become a master of conjuration in your preferred tree. Let's see the aim. There we go. Okay, there is our incandescent Archon. She's beautiful. She's flaming. She's on fire, and yeah, we're definitely going to try her out in combat. Here we go. So they're taking damage just from being close to her, and she casts Fireball. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, he flew so far. Oh, yeah, that, I like it. I also like that while I have the Flame Thrall spell, so I can have 2 permanent Archons, this spell does have a shorter lifespan, right? It only lasts for 2 minutes. So I love that you can sacrifice 2 moderately powerful Archons to get a super strong one, but it only works for a short amount of time. I think that is a really nice way to create a master level spell that looks amazing, but at the same time gives it some limitations, right? So you're not working around with a permanent incandescent Archon that's fireballing everything in sight. Because again, that would take some of the fun out of the game, because leave some corpses for me, you know. Alright, last but not least, we have Vault of the Valkynaz. Bend reality to conjure an endless stream of bound weapons. Concentrate to spawn portals around you and fire a barrage of bound weapons, dealing variable amounts of damage and applying bound weapon perks. So this is the ultimate spell for a bound weapon focused caster. And actually I think we're going to go ahead and harvest our little incandescent Archon here. There we go. Otherwise we're not going to be able to see what our vault spell does, because we're going to be drowning in, well, you know, fireballs. Alright, so we're going to tick off all these bad guys over here and then lure them back to the graveyard, because where else are you going to demonstrate master spells? And here we go. Ooh, okay. Wow, that... So I can barely see the weapons themselves, but the effects of the weapons is very clearly evident. Look at that. Look at how many portals are opening up. Alright, so let's start focusing. Do I have to aim this thing? Alright, it doesn't look like I'm aiming it, if that makes any sense, because I'm seeing a lot of misses if that is the case. Oh yeah, that is just like... It's kind of hitting everything in my target radius, but it's more of a splash damage effect. You'll notice it hits like everything in a line in front of me. And then like the 10th one each time explodes, or maybe that's just when something dies. No, one of these is exploding. See? Jeez. Okay, so there you go. This is the your final form as a bound weapon conjuration master. It's just hurling bound weapons out of Oblivion and into their faces. That is fun. I think this is actually versions. I see a crescent in there, and I'm sure the ceremonial dagger is present. I think it's a version of every bound weapon that Arcanum creates, and you can just hurl it. The range on this is actually pretty good too. Let's see how far out it goes. Wow, yeah, that is nice range. But at that distance, it does kind of spread out a bit, so it is harder to hit a single target. But this is definitely, medium range. You can reliably hit your target, and then there's the explosion that will reliably hit every target. Ah, that is so pretty. Beautiful graphics too. Cool. Alright, so that was the last of the conjuration spells for the Arcanum spell mod. At least the stuff you can get right out of the gate. Right? I'm sure there's some other ones that you can get through quests, but I haven't unlocked those yet, specifically because I want to include you guys in the walkthrough when I do those Arcanum quests. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments below what was the most interesting conjuration spell you saw today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.